Hello, here is Scott Batchelor with the Republic Party of Canada. Joining us is Rudy Bruce and Blair. I forget the last name.
Hetland.
Hepland, sorry. All right, so we're here today to talk about issues, and this is the first time our party leader has been able to get up here, and he's got a few announcements to make. So I'm just going to kind of sit in the background while these two talk. So you guys have fun now.
Have fun.
We'll try.
We always have fun. Anyway, guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is Blair. How you doing, Blair?
He even muted his microphone. What the hell? I'm doing not too bad at all for a chilly Saturday in Saskatchewan.
Now, I've asked you to run for MP for the riding of Humboldt.
Yes.
And you agreed to do that, eh?
Yes, I do.
Okay, very good. So, I mean, in your own words, Blair, what do you think would get you elected?
Well, I'm all for what I'm after is I'm against fairness for employment. I'm for fairness for immigration. I have no problem with people immigrating here. I'm against illegal immigration. We've got to do things by the books. We've got to get the laws back to their original state of the Constitution, to where it belongs, so that we as Canadians matter.
Mm-hmm. And what about okay, so you told me about an experience where you went to your MP's office. What was it, a few days ago or something? What was the outcome of that?
Oh. I was asked to leave when got asked questions as to why, as a Canadian resident, I'm paying $600+ a month for antidepressants for my medication, but yet a family of refugees who has been here for, I believe it was 7 months, gets, I believe it was roughly $2,400 every 2 weeks, scot-free. And I was asked to leave.
That's crazy. That's pretty piss poor representation of an MP that's already in office, and you try to bring a grievance, and that's the kind of response you get, eh?
Yes.
That's pretty poor, eh?
That is. It's not fair for people like you and me who have been residents of Canada for however long. I don't agree with that at all. We've paid our debt to society via taxes. You look at your paycheck, for example. You've got federal tax, you've got provincial tax, you've got CPP, et cetera, and then not only on top of that, you go and you buy something, you got GST and PST, and then you've got environmental tax and yada yada yada. It's not fair that we're paying all that and these guys are getting it all for free because they're a supposed refugee, and they've bypassed the legal route and came here looking for a handout, basically.
Yeah, that's
because I do believe Trudeau did say that your country's war torn, yada yada yada. Come to Canada, we'll take you, we'll help you.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So it's a pretty big riding, I think, in Humboldt, isn't it?
From what I understand, we go from Humboldt, Lanigan, Meacham, almost to Melfort, Nacum, Quill Lake, Wadena.
What in that area do you think is most important to be addressing in that area?
Well, for the area, there, am I back? Oh, there we go.
Back.
For the area I'm in, I'm on the side of commercial trucks. I'm on the side of the general public and the best interest into what everyone wants. Regarding myself, I'm just an average Joe Blow. I have no political experience, but I see the corruption from out here, and I want to be a positive change. I will not be influenced by people like Soros or whatever. Like, say Bill Gates comes up to me, offers me $100 million to sell out my person and become green or whatever else. I won't do that. I'm 100% Canadian. I'm a hard worker. I work 70+ hours a week on average, and I'm here for the people, and my people matter, not these bigger people.
That's one of the reasons why I asked you to run. The other thing, now you touched on the fact that you're a trucker too. Eh? What do you think could be done in that area as far as trucking is concerned?
Well, first of all, we've got to take it from just a job to a skilled trade.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with
because
that.
everyone holds us to a higher standard, and quite frankly, we're not a higher standard as it is right now. Because I look at the new people that are coming in, and especially now with this new half-assed training mandate that SGI is implementing. It's a good start, don't get me wrong, but it's not enough. There's too many exemptions, there's too many clauses and stuff that I don't agree with. I've been in the industry for 18 years, and it needs a serious revamp. And the first place it's got to start is fairness in wages and safety.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think about putting a higher standing on a higher standard on getting your Class 1 license?
Well, we definitely got to increase the standard. Like, I'm looking right now, like I see that, for example, they're saying that farmers get an exemption, from the 100-hour training requirement, which last time I checked, whether it's me who's been doing it for 18 years or a farmer, 140,000-pound semi is 140,000-pound semi. It doesn't matter if you're a farmer or if you're in it to make a living. It's 140,000 pounds. It requires the same training no matter what.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm fine and dandy with a grant for the farmers come tax time that, I had to get this course so I could get my license to haul my own grain. Mm-hmm. I'd say that no problem. We have, as a government, would have no problem paying to help you subsidize your feeding us. Mm-hmm. But just please try and be unequal with your trucks. And that way it's a little bit safer for everyone. Because I can't remember what year it was. Perfect example. Farmer in Kindersley area. A friend of mine was trucking for a company out of Saskatoon. And the farmer wasn't quite paying attention, or I don't know how it went down, but a friend of mine was killed because of a farmer. Mm-hmm. I'm not knocking the farmer. I'm not knocking my friend. I'm not saying neither of them were right. Neither of them were wrong. But perfect example, just because it's a farmer doesn't mean they have an exemption from training to get that Class 1 license.
Yeah, well, it's basically a lower standard, but they're doing the same job.
Exactly.
Pretty much, What else would you look at being an MP?
I'd look at trying to get to the point where that our people's voices matter. Right now it seems like he's saying, Justin, our fearless crime minister, as I call him, is, Canada wants refugees. I'd like to know who these people are that he's talking to that want these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because economically speaking, we're not even prepared for this kind of a number. When you've got homeless people already out on the streets, and you've got immigrants living in friggin' hotels, there's something wrong with that picture. You know what I mean?
Well, exactly.
That just doesn't seem fair to Canadians that have been here all their life, and then all of a sudden, you've got these people coming into the country who haven't contributed jack shit, and excuse my French, but they're already being put into a hotel, for Christ's sake. And then the shelters are overloaded. They're economically speaking, from that point of view, the country is just not set up for this explosion. When you're causing people to be homeless and freezing to death in the cold, it's a disaster.
Exactly. And another thing is, when's the last time, you look at Trudeau, he shipped how many hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars into the United Nations? What have they done for us other than ship us all these people that are depleting our tax system?
Yeah, exactly.
The tax dollars that are supposed to go to our veterans, to our seniors, to our hardworking lower middle class people that bust their asses 40+ hours a week to provide for their family. And when the average family is within $200 a month of not paying their basic bills, that's a problem.
That's crazy. And what about in your riding? There's a food bank, isn't there?
Yes, there is, right downtown here.
And what is the situation with that? I mean, is there a lot of people going to that food bank at this time?
I drove by there. They open at 2 p.m. I drove by there Tuesday, and there was probably 15 to 20 people lined up at 1 o'clock to get into the food bank outside, because they don't open the door till 2 o'clock when they open.
Oh my goodness. Jeez. And so, okay, how many days a week is it open? 1 day a week? Or
just 1 day a week, every Tuesday.
1 day a week that you can get food. And what was there, kids standing in that lineup too and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was whole families standing all together in there.
Oh my goodness! So you have a bit of a problem even in Humboldt with people that are so poor that they have to go to a food bank, for Christ's sake.
Yep.
That's crazy.
No, and it is, and it's sad. And I notice it's all the people that are. I know quite a few people in town here, and a majority of them are the people who are unable to work. They're on welfare, and I've got a friend that is on welfare. How's a person supposed to live off of $830 a month?
And that's what
Flanagan here handles over 1,500 people between families and the surrounding towns, and they give you 2 little tiny boxes, and they expect you to try to live off that once a month. And and the worst part is these wonderful ladies that run the program. There's in their 80s, and they just want to retire, but they can't find anyone to help them. And so,
and that's another problem I have with that too. Is it's the same thing as like. I tried to volunteer there, but it's too much red tape.
Well, what I wanted to set it up was and stuff like that is what's called a Food Works program. You put up an aquaponic greenhouse where you can grow the food, and everyone who takes a food bank spends so many hours a week there, and it helps build their self-esteem up, and then they get way more food than they ever would before. And then the normal donations would go out as well. But this would make it a lot easier, and then they get skills to be able to work in certain areas. And even if it's just building their muscles up to be able to maybe get a job elsewhere at the time, or maybe a farming job. But the idea is to get their self-esteem back up, because you have to get pretty low to the point where you're willing to accept help pretty much, and you don't feel good when you do that either. I've had to do it myself. It's not a fun thing to do, and so that I tried working with them on the program. But they have no idea what I'm talking about because of their age. And like I said, they're great ladies who handle the program, but they want to get out of it. And so Lanigan would be a great test community for that. I mean, there's so many people that rely on the program, that if we could start to hear like half an acre greenhouse thing with an aquaponics, and I guarantee you, no one would go hungry hereafter. And then the rest could be sold off with the co-ops just in a couple towns. Yeah. And that would make a huge difference. It helps build people's self-esteem. And eventually when that happens, then people want to go out and get jobs, and you have less people on social service and disability. Even if they're getting a job helping teach others how to do the program. There is a way to make progress in a lot of this, but when you're trying to sell it to the government or whoever for funding, because we haven't done it in Canada, but yet it works everywhere else. It won't work. They use it in places up in northern Russia. They use it in the U.S. because especially areas where it's all rock and they can't grow anything. So they use the aquaponic greenhouse system. So they use fish fertilizer to feed the plants feed the fish, a symbiotic relationship. And because of that, the plants grow 8 times faster and the fish grow 3 times faster than the average setup. And so people can get fresh fish that is organic and fresh vegetables.
Well, I'm glad you're up on that stuff because I have no clue at all on any of that.
Well, this was one of the things that we were going to use to help fund the Canadian Community Project there that helped the homeless. was we do about 10 acres and set it up so that way part of the program is you mass produce food so you have some form of income coming back in so you can trade the, buy the stuff that you normally can't produce there, like sugar, salt, stuff like that, and anything else too. So it helps provide for the community needs when you don't have to rely on government funding. If it can at least fund itself, then you're making progress.
Yeah, and that's another cut that's been brought down is funding for your food banks, et cetera. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a 20% cut.
Yeah, no, well, they really had to set it down. It's sad, but no, the biggest thing for us is if we could get that program up and running, I think that would make a big deal. And that's why I got originally into this party, because no one in the government wanted to listen. It was too complicated. We were providing everything people needed into a rural area, and we're building whole communities. It was the idea to help anyone that needed to go there to be able to heal and get better and be able to hopefully be back on their feet working within a year or two.
What about
the concept?
What about people in that area? Have they been mentioning anything about this stupid carbon tax?
Nothing really in town here. It's just because that's where I got to give Scott Moe credit as the Conservative MP for Saskatchewan. He is fighting it and fighting it hard, and my hat's off to him. That's definitely one. Like you look at. I believe it's China. Their tons are 71.9 trillion tons or million tons a year. Well, there's no carbon tax there, and they're the highest polluter of air in the world.
It basically, economy-wise, I mean, this carbon tax is just hurting the country big time because Trump blocked on that, and so you've got how many businesses that have already, I mean, in Alberta especially, left Alberta. Because because it's so unfair, and that.
Well, did you see that today? That I can't remember who it was said that 1 month alone, 15,863 Albertans are unemployed compared to the month of December.
Oh, I never saw that, but that's horrendous.
Well, I remember when the oil rigs were shutting down and stuff when they had the oil crash there about, what was it, 4 years ago now? And
yeah, it'd be around that time.
About I remember the 1 month there, almost 500,000 people lost their jobs. It was, even though they don't have enough housing up there, they had all the housing units and everything. They employed almost about 1 million people up in Fort McMurray there. And when oil dropped like that, it not only killed their economy all across Canada, or Western Canada for sure, it killed all the people's livelihood. I mean, about 1 in 4 or 5 of those people that were there lost everything. And I mean everything, home, everything, and they're homeless.
Oh. And that's another thing, is while we're on the subject of oil, why in the hell are we importing oil from Saudi Arabia? We've got our own.
Yeah, I know.
See, the sad part is we don't even need the pipeline to go across the country. That's the funny part, is because down in New Brunswick, Newfoundland, they produce 4 times the oil that is needed for the factory over there, or the refinery over there, that could produce something to the west. So all they would need to do is put a little tiny pipeline from there over, instead of bringing it all the way across the country. And there you go. You got your oil and you don't need to import to Saudi Arabia anymore.
No, and not only that, you look at the Premier of Quebec, Francois Legault. He put a law in for an anti-drilling. They have the world's largest natural gas reserve in Quebec, but they cannot access it because the Premier said, no, we are not drilling for it.
Oh, for Christ.
Absolutely. They have more Quebec sits on more resources than any other province, but they refuse to develop it. Well, I guarantee you, if we took that equalization bullshit away and set it up so
they never signed the Constitution that enables the distribution of that money. How the hell are they getting it anyways? That's fraud. They didn't sign to agree to everything. They don't get it. As far as I'm concerned, Quebec should have to refund every goddamn nickel since that was funded because they did not sign.
No, absolutely. But what it should be set up is so that way, if they do want money after this point, they're going to have to go to Alberta and get a loan so they can develop their resources. We punish the good people and the people that work hard in this country, and we let the people that don't want to do anything just go nuts, right? And I understand certain people, yes, they do have disabilities and stuff like that. So we're not saying we're going, there's a bad people or anything like that, but we seem to be rewarding the bad people, and instead we're actually punishing the good people.
Yeah, we are rewarding an entitlement attitude, and that's today's society. Is everyone feels that they are entitled.
Yeah.
No, I know, and it's pretty bad on the reserve. Like they'll go and destroy houses and stuff like that, and the government will build us a new home. Well, what if that government wasn't there to build you a new home? And that's what's happening now. Is that a lot of these Aboriginals there's about 4 or 5 families or more living in a little tiny house. And by families, I'm not talking about couples, living with their parents. I'm talking about couples living with their children in a little bedroom on the reserve and stuff like that. And see, this isn't just them that's done this, but a lot of other groups across Canada. And when we were making CCP program, it's shown that if you just give someone something, they don't appreciate it. Doesn't matter who they are, what race they are, color, or anything like that. But if you get them to work on their part of that, so that's why we get the people that are part of the program to actually go and help build their own cabins, so they have appreciation for it, and that's their home for the next year or two once it's fully built. And then they're going to actually start taking care of it because they put that effort into helping. And whereas if you have it where they didn't have to put anything into it, they'll just provide another one. And I've heard that not just from them, but other people too. And now the immigrants that are coming in, I've heard that too from them too. So, we don't care. They'll just buy us another home or rent us another place. What the hell do we care? So it's a common attitude of entitlement. It's annoying.
Well, I'm thinking of, I look at it as a prime example. The 22X there, Rudy, the shortcut around Calgary into the south end there, right?
Yeah.
What's that reserve in there?
Oh, God, you got me there. I'm not sure.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I think so.
You drive through there and you see, houses that are maybe 2 years old, all boarded up and destroyed because we've gave it to them. The government will just give us another one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was one reserve there. It was just a massive amount of houses on the reserve that had to be refixed, redone. And but the other side from that is in the reserves that are up in northern Canada. I mean, these are guys that didn't even have, proper plumbing and water, running to their houses. Basically plumbing, I guess. And they're using a friggin' a pail.
Yep.
And I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean,
but it's
consider all the money that they have sunk over the river. I mean, over the ocean to these other countries, and you've got your own people in this country so bad off. I mean, it just makes you wonder what the hell's going on here.
But there again, look at that Transparency Act that Trudeau threw out the window.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming. I have no problem against natives. Yeah, you know what? We did step on them back when the Europeans, our ancestors, came over. But you know what? I'm not blaming the majority of them. It's the chiefs and the higher ups that are hiding this money, and they're doing, like, I look at some of these reserves. You look at the chief's house; it's a freaking mansion. He's got everything. The tribal council, all that stuff is right, living on the Ritz. But the rest of them are living in poverty.
Yeah, it's
are you mostly Irish and Scottish descent, or?
Hey?
Pardon me?
Are you mostly Irish and Scottish descent?
Straight out of Hamburg, Norway.
Norway. Okay, so all right. Well, then your people had nothing to do with that, because you said when it comes down to British and the French. Let's hit history right. We're going to do this. It was the British and the French under the Catholic reign and the Catholic blessing that said anyone who refuses to convert to Christianity can have their land stolen and be turned into slaves. The Spain took the South, and the French and the English mostly took North America. And now the French took some South too, but yeah, they treated people pretty badly. But let's face it, it wasn't all white people. It was only a select few. The Irish were treated and brought over like slaves, like, those chicken containers and livestock. They brought them over like that. They brought little girls over, and if they didn't put out, they would throw them overboard. The list goes on. So it wasn't just the select people that were being abused. When the residential school thing happened, the Kookaburras that had all their children taken away because they refused to pay taxes. So we, all throughout history, we all have been taken advantage of, and we either finally stay up and say, we're one people because we're all born here, or we stay divided and we never accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, I tell you, this is such an enormous task to get this done. And, we've really got to figure out how to really get this done, because the country can't keep going on with this corrupt government.
Well, it wasn't one dictator is another, and that's the thing. So we need to end this unelected dictatorship and set it up so we can actually vote for a leader and then vote for laws underneath. Otherwise, there'll never be any change. And I mean, with technology nowadays, there's no reason why we can't vote on laws. Seriously.
No, and but the one thing that I'm in the process of researching this. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, so don't quote me exactly on this, but all these amendments and everything to the laws that have been done in the last however many years, we have to get back to prior to the amendments and get back to the actual Constitution and the actual laws of the land, back from when Canada was formed as a country, before we can really have any efficient effect on things.
Canada actually doesn't have a constitution. We have a freedom of charter and rights, which is completely different. We actually we never had a constitution. And I do agree with you. We need to throw out everything in the law books and then bring it down to 30 simple laws. So the average person can defend themselves. You have your 10 that's average for people. You have your corporate 10, and then you have small business 10 or something, or your basic tax laws in there. And I mean, now nobody wants taxes, but you still need to build the country. That's why we want to set it up and try to put it through so a simple 10% fixed income tax straight across the board, whether it be person or company. And then this way, big companies can't out $1 billion to the government of what they have to pay.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. I had to bring my heater a little closer.
But I don't know. What do you think about that, Blair? 10% fixed income tax for everyone. We all know we're that way.
I think if the tax brackets, I'm not sure what they are. I believe it's under 12,000 is tax free for the other one, for the CPP and all that stuff. 12,000, whatever it is. But regardless, you make under $40,000 a year, you pay 8% federal, 8% provincial maximum. You make 40 to 90, you pay 20%. And we abolished the GST and the PST.
Yeah.
You pay one tax and one tax only. You're not getting taxed on a tax on a tax. This compounding stuff has got to end.
Yeah.
And the reason everything's being compounded is because of this de facto spending overseas that we do not need to spend for no blatant reason.
Well, we can build everything we need here, and we can make it Canadian made, and we can afford to make it that way. I mean, a lot of our stuff that we produce raw shouldn't be shipped down south to only be sent back up here. I mean, this is why we're paying $8 for a friggin' box of Cheerios at a local store. Is because they send our wheat down there, they manufacture and produce it in Cheerios, then they send it back up, and we're paying $8 a box of cereal, where we should only be paying about $2-3 a box.
Yep.
If it was made locally, that's what we should be paying, is $2-3 a box, and then you're putting a lot of people to work.
Yep.
And creating jobs. Even if it's shitty jobs, it's still better. They're making Cheerios. I mean, how hard can that be? But at least it work, right? And a lot of small towns, and a lot of times government is making a mistake of, let's just put all the jobs in the big cities and stuff. Well, why not bring back small towns, put jobs in factories and areas where they're desperate for work, and it'll actually you you can actually pay out less because in the long run, it costs very little to run there, right? I mean, you go to certain towns in Saskatchewan, you can get a whole place for rent for about 300-400 a month still, but there's pretty much
Exactly.
there, right? So if you set up a small, say, a factory to build Cheerios, for example, or No Name version,
Yep.
and you end up setting it up there, and it creates, say, 200 jobs.
But we got to give incentives for companies to come in and do that stuff. Whereas right now, with the way our federal government is right now, they're taking every possible option for an incentive off the table.
Well, no, what you do is you set it up so that way the government got to the point where you have a program where everything's set up, and you grab someone from business school or someone who's a small business owner who's been successful and looking for work, and you put him to run the factory and become that owner. And for 5 years, the government holds on to 50% of that to pay back the program. And then at the end of 5 years, they can choose to buy you out or keep you in there, because then you still have that support if there's anything that goes wrong, because the government still owns part of the shares, eh?
Yeah.
And it's a program where it would be set up so that way we're having Canadians own businesses and factories being put all across Canada. I mean, like on Vancouver Island alone, with all logging, there's a whole bunch of areas where you can put plywood factories or OBS factories there and create lots of jobs there too. So the list goes on from coast to coast. I mean, right now we can't even fish our own shores because we've contracted that out to every other country, and our own people can't fish anymore commercially on the shores in BC. So, and then they have the stupid fisheries that it's killing off all our spawns going upstream because it eats all the fish. So, the list goes on of stupidity that's being made in this country. And, that's just the basic.
So basically, representation on behalf of the already sitting MP is pretty next to nothing, right?
Well, if they're going to turn guys in there when they go ask questions about the government spending and how come as a citizen we can't reap any of the benefits that we've paid for, and you get threatened with the authorities to call and escorted off the property,
That's pretty sad. I mean, why? I mean, that's just sad. I mean, that's just a person not doing their job is basically what it is.
She's the same one I went to 2 years ago, and I explained the CCP program, and we can't do anything because we're not in power. I said, bullshit, you can't. You can go out and have all your leadership and your whole party go out and do fundraiser barbecues or something, and get the word out there and say, for one day out of the year, and say, hey, we're helping the homeless. Nope.
Yeah. Has that MP ever done anything like that in that riding? Like gone out for a food bank support or anything like that, or anything of that nature? Are you aware of anything like that, Blair?
For which? Sorry, you kind of cut out on me there.
Yeah. Has that MP ever gone out on any kind of a food bank drive or anything like that, or anything for the homeless at all?
The only time I've ever seen her show up for anything was the services at the arena for the victims of the bus crash. Other than that, you don't really hear anything or see anything of them.
Well, the only reason why Trudeau showed up to that one was because Trump beaten our own leader to it, and gave his condolences to Canada and saying, sorry that so that's very sad. But the one thing that I thought was strange is, yes, it's sad that those 15 boys died, and that coach there too. But the weirdest part was we have kids dying on the street that are homeless all the time, and nobody wants to pay attention to it. Kids that are homeless dying on the streets. People dying on the streets. We got 1 million plus homeless across Canada, and yet we're still promoting giving to other countries. No, we need to take care of our own people.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right there. I mean, this is a crying shame is what's going on right now. And we've got to do something about this, because I mean, like I say, we've got people dying in the streets, where you've got immigrants living in fancy hotels on the taxpayers' dollars, this is a crime in itself, and it's just absolutely terrible, ridiculous, and and there was a reporter that tried to report on that, in Ontario there. And it was a rebel media guy, and the guy from the hotel actually came out and tried to roust him out of doing the story, like he was out there to do the story, and an employee from the hotel comes out there to roust him.
Yeah.
They don't want nobody knowing this stuff, It's
No.
just unbelievable,
No.
unbelievable.
And like I went into work for a bit there this afternoon, and I came back, and I was trying to find what kind of, like, is this stuff not supposed to be publicly available? I'd like to see what they're charging the government for this stuff. But can you find it anywhere? No.
Astronomical. But anyways, let's excuse me. Let's cut that short there, guys. I think we've said a mouthful. And again, this is Blair. What is your name again, Blair? What is it? The last person?
Blair Hetland.
Blair Hetland is going to be running for the MP position for Humboldt riding for the new for the Republican Party of Canada. And we've got a lot of work ahead of us, guys. So we really got to dig our heels in and really get this whole thing put together. And if the Islamic Party of Ontario can get recognized, I don't see why we can't get as an official running member. Exactly. Now,
and that's one thing too. This made up word of Islamophobia.
No.
Okay. I'm probably going to butthurt a lot of people over this comment. But you know what? A phobia is an irrational, keyword being irrational fear of something. Islam is not irrational, or it's not rational.
Yeah.
Anything that condones killing someone because they don't believe in your beliefs, that you're allowed to sexually assault someone under the age as young as 5.
Oh my God.
When you're allowed to stone your women because they allowed themselves to be raped. That is, no, I'm sorry. I am not Islamophobic. I am scared shitless for the women and the children of this country. Mm-hmm. Because that is immoral.
Oh, definitely.
It's not Islamophobic. It is immoral.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Now, for all those that are watching after the show, please go to the Republican Party of Canada's webpage, and sign up, because we really need signatures to get this all put together. And we can't do this without you guys, okay? Everybody has to get together and jump on board and get involved.
And we will not be bought by other people. You want problems solved? We are here for you, the people, because we are blue-collar people. We've never had a life of political hierarchy in our whole lives. We are the blue-collar, white-collar, entry-level class of people that we are here to support our fellow people. Right down from the guy who works part-time 20 hours a week at Sobeys, to the guy who works 40 hours a week at the machine shop, to the guy who pumps your gas. We're here for you. We're not here for the high-ups that freaking think that they can buy us. We're not here for that. We're here to help become a country that looks after our own. We are not out there to look after ourselves.
We're of the people, for the people, and by the people. So that's what we stand by. And do get involved. Go to the webpage, get your signature in there, become a member, and let's get this done, because people, this country cannot keep going this route with these corrupt parties that are involved. I mean, they're the Liberals, the Conservatives, the NDPs. They've all had their shot at this, and they haven't done our country one bit of good, except for driving us into the friggin' ground with tax up the ass and every other goddamn thing you can think of. So,
and remember, people,
we got to change this.
Well, what we can do is what I want you guys to do is pretty simple. Go to our site. We have the link below for the free membership thing. Fill it out. Doesn't take very long. We don't ask for a lot of information. Print off the document it gives you. Mail it to our office. It gives you the mailing information. So all we're asking you to do is spend the money on a stamp and an envelope, and to mail that in. And you're giving, you're becoming part of the party. And then we give you a free upgrade to voting membership, which is a $50 value. And we're only doing this for the first 1,000 people that do this too. So we're, I think, 950 now. So left. So we're doing pretty good. We got people coming in and stuff like that. So fill out the form, mail it in, and you get a free membership upgrade. And then we'll also be offering that as we do for candidates as well. But you want to have voting rights to the party, that'd be great. And that way you can get it and you don't have to pay anything except for a stamp.
There you go. Okay.
Like Rudy and the other guys, and like Scott and Rudy said, we're here for you because we are just like you, and our voices deserve to be heard because we are not heard as the general tax-paying population of Canada. We are fed up with it. That's why we're here, is we're to help support all of our friends, our families that are in this and getting shit on by our current government and the other major part of Canada. We're here for you. We're here for us.
Yeah.
And Blair dropped off there, unfortunately, it looks like. So I do want to say thank you very much for listening. And I'll let, sorry, I'm late. Go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah, I just want to say, too, that, again, we're of the people, okay, for the people and by the people. And we've got to end this corruption in our country. And that is why we're doing this big push to get everybody involved. And let's make a difference, guys. This is our shot at it. So let's do it. Okay, let's get there and just put an end to this bad government shit. And once and for all, get our country back on track.
Well, God bless you guys, and God bless Canada. Let's make some real change here, and God bless everyone who takes the time to work with us. The real change comes from the people. Don't look at the boards. Don't look at the stupid statistics. They said Trump wasn't going to win. He only had 3% chance of winning. Well, he proved that wrong, right? So what we're going to do is, don't focus on that. Focus on where we can make a difference, because your vote does matter. And we can actually put the people back in power, where we can actually change the structure around and simplify the laws, simplify the tax system, help, and so we can end homelessness across Canada and poverty. And I know it sounds like we're offering a lot, but we're just offering some basic information that really can be simply done. So thank you very much. God bless, and join us on the Underground Social Network. Have a great day.